coach and boundary strategist, and you are on the meeting place. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. I help heart centered, high achieving women create and execute their purposeful life blueprint so they can live the extraordinary life that they want to live. And so I'm glad that you're here with me today because we're going to talk about gratitude. And I hope that I have something that you haven't thought before. In fact, I know I do. Listen, there are 3 ways of tapping into your gratitude superpower. So I want you to think of gratitude as your superpower. If you haven't been here before, I want you to give me a hashtag newbie so that I can give you a shout out and just say, hey. But if you have been here before, I want a hashtag legacy so I can give you a shout out too. And I can actually just put something up here about you, but let me know who you are and where you're from. So I want to just jump right in because I don't want to keep you long today. Remember, this is the week before Christmas, and I know you have a lot to do. So we want to talk about 3 specific things that I want to talk to you about today. One, that it's all about our choices. When we're talking gratitude, it's all about our choices and understanding what's holding you back from having those feelings of gratitude and thankfulness. Why is it so hard for you to express them or even come up with the things to be grateful for? And then third, making it a conscious focus, because that's so important to being successful with gratitude in our lives. And so I want to read this quote for you real quick. So Zig Ziglar says, the greatest source of happiness is the ability to be grateful at all times. I want you to write that down because it is so important to get into your spirit. The greatest source of happiness is the ability to be grateful at all times. And that's Zig Ziglar. So before we just dive into my 3 points, I just want to make sure we have a clear understanding of what gratitude is. And I know it's thankfulness, but it's a bit more. And it actually, gratitude is seen as is valuable across multiple cultures and religion. It isn't just here or wherever you are in America, in Europe, in Africa, wherever you are. It isn't just in your sphere of things, but it's something that is worldwide. And what's so great about gratitude is it makes us feel more connected, more a part of. And so gratitude is something that binds us as human beings. And then I want you to look at your motivation. We always talk about, or I always talk about, especially to my clients, about your motivation, because your motivation is what drives you and makes you take the actions that you need to take, or are the things that will give you that extra that you need to keep going. So motivation, the motivation of gratitude, of having gratitude, is it that feeling of well-being and life satisfaction that you want in your life? Is that what's driving you? And that's a good thing. Or is it the consequence of behavior, or of what's that saying? You can catch more flies with honey, right? Than with, and I don't need to go any further. Not at all. But the thing is, when we're doing things, a lot of times we do it just because of the consequences or the things that we will get on the other end. And so my question to you is that what's driving your gratitude? Are you being grateful or thankful or saying thank you or telling people that you appreciate them because of what you want on the other side? Or is it coming from your heart because you truly are grateful? You truly appreciate them. And so the flip side is that not doing things for what you get on the other side, or the consequences that you're looking to get, is that it can affect how others feel towards you and how you feel towards others. Just recently, I dealt with a situation. I did something for someone, and I just don't want to The reason I say someone and I'm not telling a name or who that person is in my life, because I'm not calling anyone out. It's not about who's right or wrong, but about the real life illustration of what happens in our lives sometimes. And so I had done something for someone, and I really felt good about it. I did it because I wanted to. I did it because I wanted them to know that I really cared for them. And anytime that I have the opportunity to encourage them or do something for them or give them something, and that isn't even my gift, my love language, but I wanted to do something for someone. And in that course of that, and what I did, I made some popcorn for them, right? But in the course of that and making it, this is what I got on the other end. Did you leave it in too long? Okay, I just took time, and then it was, well, this thing is kind of banged up. Okay. And then it was, you know, well, is it enough? Did I get all of it? Well, I gave you the whole bag, and I put it in a container to make sure you had a large enough container. And no, it wasn't perfect. It was for popcorn. But when you do things for people and you get those kind of responses, how does that make you feel? And for me, it was like, I felt like I wasn't appreciated. I felt like I didn't want to do it again because that person didn't appreciate my effort. There was no gratitude there. So you get what I'm saying? That sometimes our actions, our words, the things we do make someone feel less appreciative and want to do something for you again. So express gratitude because it's really what you feel, and stop looking at the negative, the negativity. We are so caught up today in negativity. And so I would encourage you to turn that negativity around and start expressing gratitude and thankfulness for the things we have. Because if you don't, look how it affects those who are around you. And then you wonder why no one likes you, or nobody wants to do anything for you, or no one wants to be around you. Well, it's because they're not getting that they're appreciated on the other end. And I'm saying this is in your workplace, this is at home, this is out in the stores. How does it feel when you work with someone in a store, when you go in a store and the person who works with the store makes you feel like they want to help you, not that you're a burden? You know, does that make you want to spend money in that store? Well, I don't know about you, but not me. I want to feel appreciated. So we're going to go ahead and go into the first one, where it's all about our choices. The thing is, gratitude is in our control. We have the ability to choose happiness or misery, because when we live in a space of gratitude, it changes our heart, it changes our mind. So we can choose to be happy and deal with something and look at the good aspect of something, or we can choose to look at the lack or the negativism. But I want you to understand that when I said that, every bit of that was a choice. We can choose happiness or misery. And then the question is, how do you make the right choices in life? Well, you can focus on that gratitude, like I just said. You can actually learn and practice gratitude. It's not natural. It's not always, everybody doesn't have the same, what do you call it, aptitude for gratitude. Everyone doesn't have the same level of gratitude. And if you see that it's not something that is easy for you or come natural, learn more about it and practice it. Wake up in the morning and tell yourself the things that you're grateful for. Well, first of all, I'm still breathing. I have that to be grateful for. I have a home to be in. I have a bed to sleep in. I can go downstairs and get a cup of coffee. I can go get food in my refrigerator. Start thinking of the simple things that we take for granted and we can be grateful for. And that's learned and something that we can practice each and every day. And so I want to share with you how we can take one situation and look at it two different ways. And that is a choice on what we choose to focus on. So that's number one and number two. So just recently, there was someone that I was so happy that I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I saw them recently, and we said we were going to get together. And we were first going to get together over Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, that week after Thanksgiving, because we knew that all of a sudden holidays would come up, and it didn't happen. And I was good with that. But then I reached out to that person again. I said, hey, are we going to make this happen? They said, yes, let's make a date. And we set up a date. It was on the calendar. I was excited, looking forward to meeting with this person. And the other day, I got a text. I'm so sorry. I can't make our meeting. Can we wait till after the holidays? And so at that point, I had a choice on what I would focus on. And so I could let that ruin my day. I could tell myself, oh, they really don't want to meet with me, or I'm not important enough for them to get together with me, or whatever it is. Or I could say, I'm not important in their life. They have ruined. I had set this up on my calendar. They don't value my time. They don't care about, what I do, or that I have a busy life too, or all those things. I could really focus in on those things, right? Or I could choose what I did choose. And I thought, well, she said we'll get together after the holidays. So I'll just make sure I reach out to her after the holidays and we'll set it up. That's fine. And it's dark after such and such time anyway. So I'm good. I don't have to drive out in the dark because I'm not the best driver after dark anyway. So that's cool. So I have another time. I'll make another time. I don't have to ride it. And I can use that time spending time with someone else and sharing with that. That time doesn't have to go to waste. I can just use it in another way with another person. And then I got the text back explaining what was going on in their life and why they couldn't meet with me then. It had absolutely nothing to do with me. It was circumstances beyond their control, and they still wanted to get together with me. So if I would have had that bad attitude, boy, I would have felt like a heel. I would have felt selfish. I can't even imagine some of the things that would go through my head. But I chose to look at it another way. And that's what I'm talking about with gratitude in our lives. We can look at the lack or the disappointments or the negativism, or we can look at the opportunity and the options and the joy. Choose happiness or choose misery. What are you going to focus on? And then I want to ask you the second point. What's holding you back from your gratitude journey? And I have a secret for you. The number one thing that holds us back, well, that's forgiveness, or more accurately, unforgiveness. And it's when we can work through the forgiveness of others of the things that are holding that bitterness in a heart, it's not until we can work through that that we're able to let it go and see the things that we are grateful for. You know, that negativity, and that negativity, boy, that's a hard one, is suffering on our side. The person that we're holding back on, that we're being unforgiving to, more than likely, you're not even a thought in their day. They probably even forgot what you're mad at. And that negativity is poisoning you. And it's festering in you, and it's coloring and affecting your day and your life. And so that negativity is affecting your physical body, as well as your mental and emotional body or parts. And so I want you to know that it's damaging you and not affecting that other person, because they're moving on with their life. They're going about their business in that day, and you're probably not even a thought in that day. Forgiveness it's not really about the person you're forgiving. It's about you and your heart. And so ask yourself, do I want to always be held captive in this unforgiveness, or do I want to be set free? Because when you're set free, it allows you to pursue happiness and be fulfilled in your own life. Is what you're holding on to really benefiting you and those around you? Or is it hurting you? Is it becoming that hardness on your heart that is slowly branching out and touching other parts? It kind of reminds me of Frozen, or these illustrations of a heart that one edge is blue and hard. And as that coldness grows, it just branches out and starts hardening other parts of the heart till it is completely frozen. Is that how you want to be? Is that who you want to be? And then the third thing is gratitude is a conscious focus. It's something that you choose to focus on. I want to ask you, where's your focus? Your thoughts. Because where your focus and your thoughts are is where your actions and your emotions will follow. And so you have a choice to make what you will consciously focus on. Every minute of the day, everything you do, you have a conscious thought or focus. And so what are you going to focus on when you wake up in the morning? What are the things that you're going to focus on when the things happen in your life that you're not happy about? How are you going to look at them? How are you going to let them affect your day, your attitude, your feelings? It's your choice. You can train your mind, and that's what you have to do. You have to learn to train your mind on how to react when certain things come your way. And if you're having a hard time with this, think of all the wrong ways that it could have gone and that it didn't. Remember what I talked about when we wake up in the morning? Think of all the things that you have and you didn't have to have. The next bad conversation you have. Think of all the different ways it could have gone. It could have it could have ended up in a brawl, an all-out brawl there in your workplace. It could have it could have ended up where you took a swing at that person. It could have ended up where they escorted you out of your job. So in thinking of those things, what do you have grateful? What do you have to be grateful for? When you start thinking of the ways it could have gone and the way that it did go, it helps us focus on the positive. And so this is a great exercise to start doing to train yourself. And this morning, the perfect example is I had what I call a kitchen emergency. I was fixing coffee, right? And there was a sound, and something made me look over to the coffee pot. And all of a sudden, I realized that the water wasn't going in the pot, and there were grounds that shouldn't have been there. And so, what did I do? I could have been upset and thrown the coffee away, and I kind of smiled in the midst of it. And I realized I have a strainer. And so I got one of my glass measuring cups, and I looked and I said, oh, this is salvageable. There's still water. The grounds aren't all over the place. And so I pulled the canister out of coffee that I already had, and I put the strainer over the glass container, the glass measuring cup, and I just poured the coffee in there. And so all the grains that could have been in the coffee were in my strainer, and I set that aside, and I rinse out the coffee pot with hot water so that it wouldn't crack because it was cold water, and I cleaned it out, and I poured the good coffee back in. And then I looked to make sure that there were no more grains that would fall into the coffee pot. I put my coffee packet back in there, and I shut the coffee pot off and turned it back on, and it finished brewing. And I still had my coffee for the day. And I had a story to tell you about how I could have looked at it differently. But I chose to be grateful and make it work for me. How did that work for you? And so you have a choice of what to consciously focus on. Because when we do, we can release the dopamine or the serotonin, those good chemicals that give us that warm, fuzzy feeling like this morning that, hey, I made it work for me. That same feeling that we get when we have comfort foods like chocolate, or we do things like exercise. And so I could choose gratitude, which doesn't put those extra calories on me, or I don't have to work so hard for, and get that same feeling. Think about that the next time you wonder whether to be grateful. The thing is, gratitude is less pounds and less energy for the same thing. Or you can choose the lack and to focus on that. And the thing is, there are other chemicals that gratitude gives us. It's that adrenaline and that cortisol. And so that fight or flight chemical. How are we going to use it? Are we going to let the stress and the worry bother us? Or are we going to choose well-being? Because that stress and that worry gives us weight gain and anxiety. Or we can choose those other chemicals, dopamine and serotonin. Which are you going to choose? Gratitude. I want to leave you with this. I want you to start looking at gratitude as your superpower. I want you to know the power of gratitude. Stop waiting for the right person or the right circumstances when you can take charge. Gratitude helps you build strong relationships. You begin to be more generous, kind, and helpful with those around you. It helps you cope in the midst of a situation, to deal with adversity, and it can shorten that period of pain and makes the situation more bearable. What a superpower. You know, if you make gratitude your daily focus, it can temper the outcome of your day. And so the other day I saw something about how to focus on gratitude, and it was the 4 A's by Charlie Perkins. He talked about appreciation, approval, admiration, and attention. So if you can't figure out how to bring gratitude in your day, here are ways. Appreciation. Appreciation is recognizing and enjoying the good qualities of someone or something. You can do that. It's a full understanding of the situation and finding the good in that. Can't you be appreciative? It's approval. It's the belief that someone or something is good or acceptable. Hey, this is great. Admiration is respect and a warm approval. It's saying things like, I love the way that you're able to just come up with things on the fly. You know, admiration is something that regards an impressive or worthy, something that is worthy of respect. Is telling someone, you know, your ability to wrap your mind around this, man, that's amazing. And admiration is that pleasurable contemplation of, and says, of being with that person, is saying, wow, I am so looking forward to spending time with you and knowing what's been going on in your life. And then finally, attention. Giving that person that notice, or taking notice of someone or something, the regard of someone or something as interesting or important. Don't you like feeling that you're interesting or important when you talk to someone, that they're giving you their full attention? It's that act of dealing with or taking special care of someone or something. That's ways that we can express our gratitude. And earlier I spoke about motivation and why it's so important to your being successful with living a life full of purpose and an extraordinary life. Motivation is what drives you, remember? It's what gets you up and out of the bed in the morning. And why is it so important to you? Because you want to leverage your primary motivation to be more productive in your life, to have better relationships and be a better leader and deepen your sense of meaning and purpose in your life. And so what I've done is I created a quiz. So I want to invite you to take the free motivation driver quiz and find out what really motivates you. And then I'll send you an in-depth report, not only on what motivates you, but how you can use that motivation to move forward in this coming year. And so I encourage you and I invite you to go to masteringyourmonday.life/quiz for a free quiz on how you can move forward in 2023. knowing what motivates you and using that to help you be successful. Until next time, I am so grateful that you took the time to be here this morning at the meeting place with me, Michelle O'Neill, your host. Take care and Merry Christmas. Bye bye.